I voted for Donald Jacques Trump, and I am not ashamed of that one iota. And part of the reason I did that is because I believe that he has a greater potential to shift our economy, not just in the short term, because most people are just going to be looking at today, right? Most people are very short-sighted is what I've come to recognize. And I was this way as well. I was kind of just looking at, life as a hustle to just get to the next and the next and the next, as opposed to this lifelong, this journey and the one that's going to pass out to my kids' kids. But nevertheless, I do believe that he has the most potential to change things for the best when it comes to our economy. Even things that he's doing that some people are laughing at or thinking are ridiculous or not understanding. If you do just a little bit of research, you'll get it. It's like the Greenland purchase. Why does he want to acquire Greenland? Because Greenland's ice caps are melting, and that's going to become a trade route that's going to make it cheaper for us to transport goods. And that has a huge effect on the bottom line, what we actually pay here on this side of the continent, or this side of the planet, excuse me. So yes, 1000%. I have placed my best on this man as president. However, I am not dependent upon DJT, aka Donald Django Trump, because he's a free man. Call him a felon all you want, he's a free man. I am not dependent on that man to get the outcomes that I desire in my life. If Skamala had somehow weaseled her way into this nomination, if she was being inaugurated on January 20th, 2025, the year of our Lord 2025, I would still be making it happen for me and mine. Hear me well. This is a mentality shift that came maybe in my early 20s when I finally started stepping out of that victim mentality, that woe is me, the system is against me, the government, the man, the white man, the system of inequity, whatever, all of that. When I started stepping away from that limiting perception of life, and I started to ask myself, what is it that I'm doing or not doing that is contributing or taking away from my potential success, was the moment things started to switch for me. That's also around the time I started my first business. I started a digital marketing company, right? Little boutique, very little small, run and gun sort of thing. Hire a person here or there. Didn't grow to a massive company because it really wasn't my passion, but I did put my life into it. And it taught me so much about self-reliance and understanding the power that I had to affect change. I had to go out and find clients with no resume, no book of business, nobody to vouch for me. There was no government there to help me. There was no Trump. There was no Biden. You understand me? For me, I honestly view it like this. The government, the best they can do for you is to give you a fair foundation or a solid foundation, right? To play the game in, and then to leave you the hell alone. Like, unfortunately, places like the place I grew up, California, Bay Area, it's like the likes of the Gavin Newscoms. There's so many regulations and things that disincentivize you as a business owner. High taxation, like just unnecessary regulation, folks. Things that don't even make sense. If you go to another state, you can get your business up and running in 6 months, 3 months. Here, it might take you 4 or 5 years to get some of the same licensing. It's actually ridiculous. But even with that knowledge, I still take personal responsibility to say, okay, well, then what business can I start here that, essentially isn't going to limit me in such a way? What can I do here that I can also do in another state, in another place? If I travel, I can still do the same work, something that I resonate with, something I can do well, etc. And I fell upon marketing. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up in this overall point of I'm not relying on the government or even Trump's administration to win is simple. I came to understand through starting a business, failing my way forward, right? Quote unquote failure, I guess you would say. I never quit necessarily, but I did find myself in places where I was demoralized. I felt like I wasn't going to make it. I was just scraping dollars. I was really scraping low money here, low money there. I was undercharging. I really didn't know my value and my worth. I didn't know how to charge. I didn't know a lot of stuff. There was more stuff that I did not know than I did know. And so, in some people's eyes, I was failing. I was starting a new brand here, a new brand there, changing the name, doing this. And then, oh, now I'm this service and I'm that service. I was figuring it out. But all along that way, I was learning that it was truly in my own hands, which is something that unfortunately is becoming a lost art in this generation. In this day and age, there's so much of this socialist ideology, this neo-Marxist ideology. It's like a hatred for the wealthy, eat the rich, Oh yeah, those rich bastards, they're evil, etc. It's like we forget about the multitudes of people who started with chicken scratch, with literally nothing. And they built something up out of that. They tested, they tinkered, they created, they innovated. They pushed forward even when they were, I'm talking about people were in masses of debt. And they scraped their way up out of that and they made some for themselves. One of the most inspirational stories for me is the one of Marie Callender. And I want to make this comparison of even a bad economy, you can make work for yourself. But you have to be the type of individuals willing to take personal accountability, which is not easy because it's always easiest to blame a finger or point the blame at somebody. It's always easy to point blame at mama, daddy, at, spouse or the lack thereof. Well, it's the system, the government, it's racism, sexism, homophobia. It's always easy to point it to something else. The moment you look in the mirror and have to take the onus is when it all starts. That's when you're now in the game. All that other time, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time, your energy, and your attention. And you'll find yourself at the end of your life with nothing but regret on your shoulders. Man, I could have done this. Man, I could have done that. If I had not wasted my time here, if only I had done that. If only I just, And right now, as you're hearing this message, that's my heart's desire, is that you can truly hear me for what I'm saying. Sometimes it's triggering to hear these things, but hear me when I say this. The results that you are getting in your life are a direct reflection of the person that you are being. What are you holding as your thought process, your belief system? What are you doing? What are the actions you're engaging in? What habits are you feeding? These things are what makes you who you are. Your life is a direct reflection of who you are being. The results I'm getting are far different than the results I was getting 3-4 years ago, let alone 5-6 years ago. And the only thing that changed was how I'm showing up in life. And the thing that changed within how I show up is whether or not I was willing to take responsibility for my own life. I cannot stress this point enough, folks. It's not the damn government. It's not. Well, if the economy was just, there have been a multitude of businesses that have thrived through even the worst of economies. There have been individuals who have just been better prepared, those who have gone deeper into understanding these things. I used to think money was just this nebulous thing that just happens. I used to pay it no attention. I was afraid to look at my bank account. I was, afraid to even engage with that aspect of my life and pretended it didn't matter. Even though I was basically wasting my life away chasing a little bit of it, I was still pretending, I don't really care about money. And there's so many people out there like that, right? I don't care. I don't care about money. But you wake up every morning at a time you don't want to wake up. You leave the people that you love most, that you want to spend time with in order to get a little bit of money. You don't have to lie to yourself. You can just be like, you know what? I do care about it. How do I work the system better for myself and the ones that I love? How do I figure the game out? And so I came to realize that money has a language. Money actually literally talks. There's a way in which I can understand how money moves. I can understand finances. Oh my God, there's an entire world of finance. Whoa. So I can actually become illiterate in this language. You know what I mean? As opposed to just ignoring it and pretending it doesn't matter and devoting even just iotas of time instead of using that time to listen to music or, listen to whatever random stuff. Because mind you, in the same moments that you're scrolling through, maybe TikTok's gone at this point, we'll see. The same time you're scrolling through them TikToks, keying it. Same time you're scrolling through those IG reels, same time you're going through video after video, you could also be devoting yourself to understanding the thing that is a pain point in your life right now. Instead of drowning out the pain of not having, you can actually be solving the problem. That's why there is a pain, that discomfort, that negative belief, or the negative emotion that you feel. The shame, the angst. It's a message. It is a notification. Your unconscious to say, hey, come deal with me. Deal with me. Hey, solution, solution. I used to be so ashamed of being broke. And then on top of that, I would try to cover up the shame of being broke by doing things that would lead me to greater brokenness. You understand me? I would do things that would lead me to a deeper state of brokenness. Oh, man, if only I just... anyway, scroll my ass for some hours, wasting away hours upon hours when I could have been sitting right here using my gift, the thing that I do best with the least amount of effort. Shout out to you, Steve Harvey. The thing I do best with the least amount of effort, and literally monetizing it, becoming financially prosperous at certain levels, right? At a gradual state, absolutely. But nevertheless, today I made more than I made yesterday by simply tapping into the thing that I was ignoring yesterday, or I wasn't giving myself over to yesterday. And this takes changing your habits, but first changing your mind. And that's the battle, because it's easier to settle for the excuse. It's easier to blame white supremacy. This is why I make so many videos about race and, this thing of racism and blaming racism, is because I know that this is one of the greatest hurdles that many people face, especially in this generation. And I only speak to a message that is relevant to the generation. I've been called for a time like this to speak for y'all who are born in a time like this, right? I am a sign of the times. I am a reminder, a reflection in these times to say, look, you're going to have the temptation to blame racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, microaggressions, the system of white supremacy, the system of injustice, the one percenters, your politicians. You're going to have the temptation to blame them for your internal state or your own life circumstances, and it's going to be the easier way out. But that easier way out is also going to lead you to everything that you do not want in your life. I guarantee it. I can blame my ex for why my future relationships don't work out. But that still doesn't change the fact that my future relationships now aren't working out. Or I can take personal accountability. Man, you know what? The reason I keep attracting to narcissists is because I actually have... Man, I have an addiction to chaos. Wow. Oh my God. I'm a people pleaser. I'm codependent. Oh, it's actually me. Okay. No, we can work with this. We can work with this. And I know there's a fear, a deep-seated fear of punishment that comes from accountability. That's honestly where most of the fear comes from for most of us, because we're raised in conditionally loving environments. And in that play or in that space, you were going to be punished if you did something that was not agreed with in that environment, and you're rewarded if you did something that was agreed with, right? That transactional sort of quote unquote love. And so we have a fear that if I take accountability, it means I'm going to be punished. I'm going to be in trouble. When in truth, when you take accountability in your whole grown state, it gives you power. It is your only seat to power. When you say, I could have done something different. Man, I got screwed by my business partner. And this did happen to me at least twice. And it wasn't even screwed over. It was me not doing my due diligence of who I was dealing with. When I did not do my due diligence, I didn't check this person. Who are they actually? What have they done in the past? Let me check their bank statements maybe. Let's actually court each other before we get into this business relationship, shall we? No, I was so thirsty for the opportunity. I jumped in, and 6 months later, I found myself very resentful because I'm doing 80% of the work. They're doing 20, and we're both getting paid the same. And I still have to produce, and they're off in the distance. And this turned me into a more consummate business person once I took it to heart. Once I actually took the lesson, right? It turned me into a better business person, because now I wasn't just going to do the situation with you without no contract, without you knowing the stipulations and to know that it's fair for both of us. Here's what your part is just as much as here's what my part is. If I don't fulfill my part of the contract, my part of the obligation, then you can come back to me and check me. That's how I started doing my business. But I had to learn in the situation. But if I blamed, oh Lord, oh, they screwed me over. Yeah, I started singing old Negro spirituals about how somebody got me, how I was screwed over. Oh, they played me. I would have learned not a damn thing. I would have learned nothing. I would have walked away from that situation the very same, and I would have allowed it to happen again and again and again. And then I would, at the end of my life, tell my grandkids about how unfair life is and how terrible people are, and nobody ever, wants the best for you, and everybody wants the worst for you. And everybody wants to just do you dirty, Oh, you should have known about these accountants who botched my books and they cooked up, they cooked up my money fleeted. That's why you ain't got no inheritance. No. It was my job to watch over my money. It was my job to watch over the accountants who are looking over my money. I'm checking on you. I got a weekly check. I got a weekly date with my finances. I'm going through every single purchase, every single transaction. Oh man, that sounds like too much. Then go ahead and have your money swindled. Simple. It's really simple. I'm not waiting on Trump. I love that man. I have a love for what he represents and what he's doing. Oh, you don't like that? You think I'm a sellout? Cool, I'm a sellout then. Let me be a sellout. I like what that man's got going on. I have a respect and a reverence for his work ethic and his approach. I like that he wants to surround himself with smarter people than him who give him advice. And he moves on that advice. I like that. I can see the good in that. But he is not responsible for me. Not me personally. Just again, set the best playing ground that you can. And if you don't, then I'm going to go to somewhere that does. That's why people leave and they go to a tax haven. They leave and they go to a place that is actually incentivizes businesses to operate. If you want to create a communistic, socialistic environment, Gavin Newsom, that's perfectly fine. We will leave the raggedy, craggly, scraggly California that you have created, and we will go elsewhere and create businesses over there. It's simple. We're not waiting on you. And I wish, I pray this for you. Man, to hell with wishing. I need this for you. That you stop looking around to something to change your condition and you start looking to yourself today. Don't wait on the new year. New Year's already over. You told yourself you was going to do 17 things at the beginning of the new year. You ain't done 3 of them things, and it's okay. Pick one thing that you want to change and turn around and focus in on that thing and take responsibility for that thing and then stack on top of that thing once you get momentum. If y'all want me to get into the nitty gritty and the nuances of those things, I definitely will. But I'm tired. I am tired of seeing my people, and I'm not talking about black, white, right? I'm talking about those who have the same level of values that I have. Those who are of integrity and honesty. Those who have a certain level of dignity, healthy pride about themselves. I'm tired of seeing y'all struggling and just because you keep holding on to that little iota. Let that go. Let it go. Let it go. I know it's easy because you've created an identity around it. I know it's difficult because, man, if I do succeed, does that mean my family's going to look at me? Yes. Your family, your friends, so-called friends. Yes. People are going to drop like flies. They're going to be people you thought were for you aren't really for you. When you start winning, people start feeling uncomfortable. Yes, these things do come with it. But guess what? On the other side is an unfulfilled life, period.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising. They see your light shine, that's why they so frustrated. Even the sofa in Nova Scotia will win the bagels. I couldn't get them ease on the grease, why they burning up? Money growing trees, feel a breeze, still you showing love. I can dig your energy. Even in the darks, I know you got that inner peace. You can fill a cup again, your limit is infinity. You manifest a life with all the fixings and amenities. This is more or less a house sitting. A sitting on a house like Snoopy. A teacher, no dog, new tricks, that's bliss. Cause there ain't no Charlie Browns in this vicinity.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the